And we are live. Now I know I haven't made a video in quite some time. I'm sorry about that. But for the few videos that you may have seen in the past, yes, the forest is out. Which means we're going to talk environment. Or rather, the global warming scare or hoax. And hi there Michael, we already talked a bit. Hi there Leprechaun. And hi there Real Raven. Guys, if you want to join me, you can join me in Discord. Don't worry about that. If you don't know where we are in Discord, you can always ask. Now, it's a little bit early in the match or early in the stream, so I'll give people a few seconds time to join. Though, knowing my luck, it won't be a lot of people joining us. And I know I'm partly to blame for that, for not being more active on the YouTube. And I really wanted to talk about the environment. It's something that is funny to me for quite some time. And why do you want to get your bike serviced, Ludicrous? It's not that hard to do it yourself, mate. Well, unless it's an electric bike, because then I wouldn't know where to start either. But bikes aren't that difficult, are they? I mean, yeah, maybe I should do a stream on that one day. Then again, I'm not one to repair bikes that easily. I'm sidetracked. I'm easily sidetracked nowadays. By the way, Real Raven, I haven't seen you in a while, or rather, that's not true. I haven't spoken to you in a while. Any music videos coming out on your end? Because I am curious. I mean, you used to make a lot of good stuff. Then again, maybe people blame you for the stuff you made with me and now they don't want to work with you anymore. Who knows? Anyway, 2 minutes. How long do we give them before we start with the real topic? Actually, maybe I should start right away. Now, last year and the years before, we talked about global warming and basically called global warming a hoax. Not because the temperatures weren't going higher, but because there was far more to it than the story that was being pushed. Now, obviously it's not man-made. I mean, sure, you can believe that it is, but humans don't have that much influence in the world. We like to think we do, but nah. The problem with man-made global warming is that it's a lie to scare you. It's basically... how do you call it? Luddite? No, not Luddite, the other one. Malkier. I forgot the name. It's a basic scare that's been around for a few hundred years, that the world won't be able to sustain life. And Melchior? Oh, bloody hell, I should have prepared better. I'm sorry. I thought I'd remember the name. Well, actually, I did remember the name a moment ago, but for some reason I can't find it now. But the thing with the global warming hoax is that we were told that something like this would happen. And we didn't want to believe it. We were told that the global warming thing was a lie. We still didn't want to believe it. The thing is that there were scientists back then that knew global warming was a hoax. And why did they know? Because they remembered that there are cycles going on in the environment, in not just the environment ourselves. The major source of heat this planet has is not on this planet. Malthus, that's the one, I think. The one that started talking about how the world would soon be too small for the amount of humans, and how we couldn't create enough food. Hi there, Patricia. No, not Patricia. Patricius. My bad. I'm sorry, guys, if I seem a little bit off the ball, but that's because I have medication going on through me right now, so I'm a little bit less sharp than I usually am. Back to the storyline, though. There were scientists that basically told us, listen, people, yes, we're going through a spat of warm weather, but there will be a spat of cold weather pretty soon again. And these people basically proclaimed that from 2021 it would be getting slightly colder. And I basically repeated that in one of my older videos, not so much because I believed it, but because the science was quite clear on how it works. So yeah, there's that. How many fucking sacks of coal do I need to burn to make this godforsaken land habitable? For my turtle. Yes, the land itself, maybe not such a good idea, but you could try to make a room warm enough for your turtle. How about that one? And no, I didn't misgender you. There are plenty of females that are male nowadays, so who cares? 42. But don't forget your towel. Anyway, so no, back to the story, because I'm getting sidetracked easily today. The thing is, we were told to be scared because of global warming and CO2 and all the other things that are basic bullshit. The thing is, there were scientists out back then that were already saying, listen guys, yes, the world is getting a little bit warmer now, but don't worry, it's a phase. And we'll go into a period of time when the world will be a little bit colder. The word is a little bit, by the way. Don't think that we're straight into the new ice age. We're still not out of the ice age we're in already, so that's not. We might go slightly back towards an interglacial. Then again, I think we still are in an interglacial. I'm not quite 100% sure on those things. But yeah, how cold is the world at the moment? And this is the funny thing. Now, I'll see if I can share with you what I am going to be able to find in just a small second of, well, not Google, obviously, because I don't do Google. I use another program. And maybe I should do it like this. Come here, you. See, sometimes I should do better in preparing. I know, I'm dreadful. Anyway, here we go. Let's do it like that, so you can see it well. Now, as you can see, I've got a few windows open. And on each of those windows, I have a slightly different search term. For example, on the first one, I have coldest April of the 21st century. And then the latest news is, right at the top, Hungary records coldest April of the 21st century. Fair enough. That's the second story, the third, the fourth, etc., etc. And then we go to Mashable, all of Earth's coldest years on record. Obviously this year won't be in it because we're not at the end of the year yet. And whatever. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the first 5 are on how cold Hungary was. So I thought, well, is that true for all places? And I'm sorry, I should go back. So I said, okay, when was the coldest April of the Netherlands? Well, that's not really fair, because I merely typed coldest April of the Netherlands, and here it says coldest April in 35 years. Coldest April in the Netherlands in 35 years. April 2021, the Netherlands, coldest in 35 years. Funny enough, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one, Europe shivers through coldest April in decades. Well, I mean, 35 years is 3.5 decades, so that's probably it. But this is something that happens in other countries in Europe as well. Is that true, you say? Well, yeah, sure. The UK has the same problem. And apparently Ireland too. Thank you for sharing that with us, Real Raven. April set to be the frostiest in the UK for 60 years. And this is posted on the BBC on the 27th of April. So, on average, in Europe, the weather has been cold. Now, is this true for the other side of the world? I don't know, but I doubt it. Let's do a live Google search. Well, not a Google search, a DuckDuckGo search. Global temperatures in 2021. Now we see that Europe, April was cold. I mean, see it how you want to like it, whatever. So what does the NCDC say? And I'm going to the first link. I'm not even going to pretend. And then we go to February, introduction, temperature, anomalies and percentiles are shown on the grilled map below. The maps are quite crap. I've tried to make them bigger, but somehow it won't work. Maybe that's because of the browser I'm using. Whatever. Anyway, if we then look at monthly temperature during a month, La Nina continued to be present across the tropical Pacific Ocean during February, helping dampening the global temperatures, which is true because Europe is currently seeing the coldest in 3.5 decades, in the UK even in 6 decades. Meanwhile, a strong negative Arctic oscillations was also present during the first half of the month, similar to ENSO affecting global temperatures, and the AO, AO is Arctic oscillation, sorry. And the AO can influence weather patterns across the mid-latitudes. In a negative Arctic oscillation phase, the jet stream weakens and meanders, creating a larger throw and ridges. So, this allows really cold Arctic air to reach the mid-latitudes, basically cooling down the world a little bit more. Okay. Across the US, a throw was over central US combined with the ridge over northern Canada to produce a Rex blocks, no idea what a Rex blocks is, which is blocking patterns that disrupt the jet stream and leads to more prolonged weather patterns. The AO on February 10th and 11th was minus 5.3, which essentially ties February 5, 1978 and February 13, 1969 for the lowest February value on record. So this year is tied with those 2 years, and if I'm not mistaken, 69 was also a cold year, but never mind that. They were also amongst the lowest 35 values for any day of the year. By February 26th, it had rebounded to plus 2.7, which meant that it was a little bit better. I wouldn't say warmer, I'd say better. Meanwhile, the most notable warm temperature departures occurred across eastern Canada and southern Europe, as well as southern and northeastern Asia, where temperatures were at least 2 degrees Celsius above average. So February was supposed to be slightly warmer, according to this story. Well, yeah, sure, it's possible. I don't know. But if February was slightly warmer, and in Europe, April was 2 degrees colder on average, so where does this temperature difference comes from? Now, obviously, I'll not pretend to know the answers. I mean, I simply don't know. What I do know, however, is that we simply do not understand what's going on enough to predict the weather for the coming 12 years, Madame Cortés. Because if we could, we wouldn't have the coldest April in decades. I'll go back to this one, by the way. I might switch from screen to screen, but that's a little bit a waste of time. It doesn't make sense. If the world is warming up due to global warming, due to CO2, then you'd think that it would still be warm. Now, I know people will say, yeah, but last year, because of the corona crisis, we didn't travel as much. And you'd be correct. I mean, it's true, we didn't travel as much during the last year. But the funny thing was that in the last year, global warming was considered to be caused by not traveling much. Because, where was it? Let me see if I can find it real fast. Let's see if your average temperature could change soon. Oh, I can't find it real fast. That's too bad, really. Maybe I should look at it differently. Oh, come on. I'm sorry, guys. The computer doesn't do what I want. And I'm about as sharp as a tablespoon. Pretty sure I had this somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Ah, here it is. I should be able to show it to you guys. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in one of the streams before. It's a little bit silly though, because I really wanted to make a video on this one. But maybe global warming became higher because the air is cleaner. The pandemic's cleaner air added heat to the warming planet, according to this article in ABC News. And okay, this is out of February this year, so it's not that long ago, but still. And indeed, Green Badger, our local weather persons can't even predict the weather for next week. That is definitely true, and has always been true. Hi there, Paolo, by the way. I didn't even see you come in. And Green. Sorry, didn't say hi to you two yet. And your countrymen are convinced you're going to win the European Song Festival? No, surely not. Then again, what about... Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about the Eurovision Song Festival, at least not now. We can do it in a moment if you guys want to. But, so here we have an article talking about how cleaner air created more heat, which in all fairness kind of does make a little bit sense, because all the dust particles in the air block direct sunlight. Now we don't see it because our sky is blue because of all the things that are reflecting light to begin with. So we don't see it if there's a little bit more dust in the sky, but it does stop sunlight, and the less sunlight reaches the planet, the less it will make us warmer. But that doesn't make sense, because if in 2020 the world gets warmer because of cleaner air, well, what changed? Did our air suddenly get so much more polluted now that we are in April 2021? It doesn't make sense that we create so much air pollution that we basically have overtaken the loss we made last year. Then again, I can't pretend that I precisely know how it works. But if 2020 was still slightly warmer, and 2021 is already slightly colder, well, that's not true. April was slightly colder. Who knows what the rest of the year will do? It shows that, on average, most people don't really understand this. And I might be one of those people who don't really understand it. But there are certain things that we do know, that we are not taking into account. The Milankovitch cycles, solar activity. These things also happen in cycles. But when we talk about global warming, no one is talking about solar activity. We like to think that everything can be fixed on this little planet, which sounds all good and well, but doesn't make any sense. We are not the biggest polluter on this planet, or at least we are, but not when it comes to creating global warming. It is true that in cities temperatures can be slightly warmer than in rural areas, but then again that only makes sense because, yeah, obviously where there is more concrete, where there are more buildings, there is going to be more heat. Buildings tend to grab onto heat and let it go slowly, or even slower than that. Hi there, Dimitri, by the way. Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. I need to track of the chat. My prediction also more reliable than the one from the weather. Okay, fair enough, Michael. Yeah, it's literally everything causing anything for the climate thing. I'm not quite sure what you mean with that one, Patricius. But then again, as I said, I'm currently not at my sharpest. My country follows ecological EU dictates scrupulously, even if our industry can't afford it. Now, and that's a problem that a lot of countries seem to be having. I mean, currently the Netherlands and France and, well, no, actually France also has a problem paying for it. But Germany and the Netherlands seem to be okay with it. France, Italy also have a problem with it. Obviously Greece has a problem with it. So yeah, it's weird. Is it causing a high CPU load? It shouldn't. I mean, the settings are equal to normal. I can't check my CPU load, but it broadcasts at about 8,000 kilobits per second. So that's not that high. And it doesn't have a lot to show. I mean, so maybe there's something else with your computer, Michael. Anyway, enough of the... The thing is, all of these problems we're having, or not, so to speak, I mean, the world doesn't really seem to be heating up as much as people thought. Because, as I said, I mean, the UK, the coldest April in 60 years, the Netherlands, coldest April in 35 years. Now, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we will be smack dab in the middle of another ice age and, oh yeah, we're going to wear thick coats come summer. That's not the thing. But that 2 degrees global warming thingy, it seems we might go a little bit lower than that. We might actually lose a little bit heat. Who knows? It could be true. I don't know. But here is what some of the, how do you call them, global extremists think about global warming. And I'm really sharp. There you go, come on. Okay, let me see, can I find it? Oh, that's too bad, this is the wrong one. I had an article, a nice article, on how Extinction Rebellion was all active again, even though the temperature isn't that active. Aww. See, I had it, this one I had ready because I wanted to do a video on this one, but I can't find it now. So I've lost it. I am so sorry, people. So what about agriculture and CO2? Well, that's a very good question. And NASA has, and I've mentioned this a few times, NASA has said it a few times already. According to NASA, and I have to see if I can find the right study, carbon dioxide fertilization is greening the earth. And they already knew this, well, several years ago. I can't remember precisely when. I think it was somewhere. Oh, can I find it real fast? Yeah, I think I did. Here we go. So, carbon dioxide fertilization is greening the earth according to a study from NASA. And this is an article from 2016. Extinction Rebellion, what a waste for O2. Well, they are creating a lot of CO2, to be honest, with them breathing and all that. It's kind of funny. I think last year there were, or the year before that, there were actually video of Extinction Rebellion events where they had this huge old truck, like an old marine army truck, and they had one solar panel with them, and they pretended that that one solar panel created all the energy for the PA system they had with them. But people weren't supposed to realize that there was also a diesel generator there. I mean, seriously, how dumb are these people? I mean, sure, be good for the environment. Sure, try to clean up our house. All of these things are good things. But the idea that we can stop global warming by using a solar panel. Anyway, back to the carbon dioxide fertilization. Where are you? Now, this is the interesting part, because I always have to say this as well. However, carbon dioxide fertilization isn't the only cause of our increased plant growth. Nitrogen, land cover change, and climate change by way of global temperature, precipitation, and sunlight changes all contribute to the greening effect. So there is more to it. It's not just carbon dioxide. I mean, the way the land is covered, the way the sun shines on this planet, so to speak, or the angle of the Earth to the sun, and nitrogen, which is also in the Netherlands, nitrogen is claimed to be a huge problem, but nitrogen is also needed to green the Earth. So researchers ran the data for carbon dioxide and each of the other variable in isolations through several computer modules that mimic the plant growth observed in the satellite data. And this is my favorite part. This is definitely my favorite part. Results showed that the carbon dioxide fertilization explains 70% of the greening effect. So all of the other things are 30%, and the carbon dioxide fertilization is more than half of the cause of the greening of the planet. And then people want to go to less carbon dioxide. The second most important driver is nitrogen, which is something that in the Netherlands we are now claiming is a huge problem, which is also strange. It's kind of funny how the two things that plants need the most to survive are also the things that we are being told are a problem. Now, if they would start talking about how we create too much sulfur in the atmosphere, then yeah, sure, I'm right there with you. But carbon dioxide and nitrogen are two of the more important foods for plants. And the people that are afraid, the Malthusians, that are afraid that there will be too many people on this planet and we won't be able to feed them all, are the same people to tell us that, yeah, we need to lower our CO2 emissions and we need to lower our nitrogen emissions. But those are the two things that plants need to grow faster. So the very thing that could stop global starvation, which in all fairness is already doable because we throw away more food than we consume. But yeah, no, they'd rather say that you can't do that one. Well, yeah, nitrogen can be a problem when it's in the water if there's too much of it. But then again, that's true for CO2 too. I mean, CO2 can also be in the water, and that can also be a problem if it is too much. There's a balance to be held. I mean, yeah, once we don't have that balance, then we're in a range of trouble, but we're not there yet, or at least not closely. The earth is getting greener. Now, there is something, and I have to look if it's in this one as well. There is this. While rising carbon dioxide concentrations in the air can be beneficial for plants, it also is the chief culprit of climate change. They had to put it in there. I'm pretty sure that they were forced to put it in there because there is no proof of it. It's just assumptions. Because if it is true, then explain to me that 2020 there was still a temperature rise, even though CO2 slightly decreased because of less traffic. But no. The gas which traps heat in the Earth's atmosphere has been increasing since the industrial age due to burning oil and gas and coal and wood and blah 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 blah, which is true. It's true. But at the same time, global warming may have happened in the last, 12 years? But if we've been increasing it for 500,000 years, why do we only see global warming in the last 12? And obviously the impact of climate change includes global warming, rising sea levels, melting glaciers and sea ice, as well as more severe weather events. I'm quite sure that I don't know which more severe weather events they mean, but the global ice caps are still there. And glaciers are still there. Now, I mean, obviously we've been told several times that certain glaciers would be gone. I mean, The Inconvenient Truth, an old documentary by what's-his-face, talked about how glaciers would be gone in 2012. They weren't. And not too long ago, Michael Keller shared an article how glaciers would be gone in Germany by 2012. Let's see if I can find it real fast. You can see me looking for it here as well. I have to go back a lot, don't I? No, not that one. See, the thing is, we also talk a lot about the COVID hoax. But not today, people, not today. I can't find it, not bloody fast. Did you send it to me personal? That's possible too. But this is all COVID. And yes, it was Al Gore, ludicrous. I know I'm crap with names. But especially if the people who I don't really care about. We did this. We looked about a few claims of it on a video not too long ago. Come on. Okay, fuck it. I can't find it. Never mind. Well, that's all right. Germany and Switzerland. How much difference do they have, Michael? Come on. No, but you're right, mate. But I can't find it, which is a shame, really. But you did send me that link. I did see it. Funny thing that happened in my country about 15 years ago. A restaurant owner was fined for not paying petroleum product tax on his homemade biofuel. Well, Paolo, you think it's funny, but this is the reason why in the Netherlands it's illegal to drive your diesel car on biodiesels that are not being sold at normal, how do you call them, gas stations. I mean, you can use frying fat to run a diesel, but you're not allowed to in the Netherlands. If you get caught, you get a massive fine. Not because it's dangerous, but basically because they don't make any money off of it. There is a search field in the upper right corner, Modwin. Yeah, I know there is, but I can't be asked. I'm sorry. Hi there, Davey. Long time no see. Ivory Tower, elites assume disasters from models that don't factor in everything. Well, that is definitely true. You're completely correct on that one. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, there's so much proof, time and again, that basically shows that it's all fake. Well, no. I have to be honest. It's not all fake. There is something actually happening. The world is slightly changing, sometimes for warmer, sometimes for cooler periods. But then again, it has always done that throughout the history of time. It's nothing new. But we're being told to be scared. We're being told to be very scared, because how dare we not be scared? And I don't understand that people fall for it time and time again. It's almost as if people have no, how do you say, interest in the reality of it. There are so many small lies that we are being made to believe, being made to accept as real, that simply aren't. Well, I guess that's me. So not smoking tobacco can be tax evasion, I know. Anyway, I'm slightly. I'm sorry, guys. My mind is a little bit hazy. It's a little bit fogged up. I have a medical issue at the moment, which forces me to use tramadol. For those of you who do not know what it is, I'll give a short explanation. It's basically a painkiller, and it's morphine-like. So I am losing my focus from time to time. Now, the good thing is that it's a really good painkiller. The bad thing is it makes your head foggy, but it's not like you're tripping or anything. It's quite annoying. It's just that I'm like, oh, wait a second, I knew something, and then I'm gone. So unless anyone wants to come here and come talk to you guys, because I rambled long enough on the things I wanted to talk about. And if someone wants to come in and talk, then by all means you're welcome. If not, I'm sorry, but I am going to call it quits, because I can hardly keep my mind straight. I do want to thank Michael Ludacris and well, Lady Hitler for posting all those interesting topics on the Discord. Paolo, you too, by the way. It's much appreciated. I really need to start working on new videos again. And I like your video on the culture that must not be named, Michael. I think I made something like that not too long ago, but I'm not really sure. But it's a really funny video. I really liked it. Not exactly tax evasion, but we're not to allow solar panels unless we hook them up to the grid, so the electric company can sell it back to me. Yeah, that is basically true. Well, in the Netherlands you are allowed, as far as I know, to go off grid. But yeah. And it does mess up my head, Davey. You're completely correct in that one. And why am I in pain? Well, that's a long story. I have I don't know how to say it in English, but I have a problem with my hip, and because of that I have a problem peeing, and it should be easily fixed with how do you call it, physiotherapy. But I've been walking around with it for more than 1.5 years, more than 2 years, and that may have caused my bladder to get infected. So I wouldn't have had this problem if I could go to the physiotherapist to get treatment for something that among women happens quite often, but also sometimes happen with men, that my hip bones are not, well, not so much the hip bones, but the bottom of it aren't perfectly aligned. Unfortunately, because everyone is scared that I might cough, not just me, other people too, I can't go to the physiotherapist. I finally found a physiotherapist willing to take a look at it, but that was like 2 weeks ago, and I might have been too late to prevent my problems. Then again, having the problems I do have, I'm pretty sure eventually it'll turn out all right. Well, I mean, let's be honest, Real Raven, the only reason why they guarantee higher buying prices in Germany for solar power is because it's massively subsidized, which means you're going to pay for it in different ways. Because that's the whole thing about green energy. It's not green. Go to an osteopathic, they fix everything. Well, I'm not quite sure, but is that the same as a physiotherapist? I don't know. But yeah, I went, and yes, painkillers are bad. I totally agree with you, Dimitri. But being in pain is also not a good thing. So if I am to choose between those two, I'm going to use how do you call it? Pain medication, pain relief medication. Don't forget, I also now well, I didn't tell you, but I also have a catheter. I don't know how you say it in English, in my dick, because I can't pee anymore. So that's interesting. Well, I say anymore. It's temporarily. I'm sure it's temporary. It's just that it's now, which is annoying for me now. But it'll get better eventually. And how about lots of water? Well, I am drinking lots of water, Dimitri, which is not really helping, because the problem of me not being able to pee has nothing to do with my bladder itself. There is something wrong with the way the pipes work, so to speak. So yeah, I have a problem peeing, which meant that my bladder is mostly full all of the time until it reaches a certain point, and then I can lose a little bit of moisture. That's probably why it's now infected. So yeah, there's that. Well, it's not nice, that is true. I mean, I'll live, don't worry about that. Osteopathics are between physical therapist and chiropractor. A chiropractor is a physiotherapist. That's the one, okay. Well, it's all going to go well. Don't worry about it. I don't think it's something other than what it is. It's annoying as fuck. I can tell you that. Well, it's more than annoying. It's painful, but yeah, we'll get there in the end. Anyway, I haven't seen anyone join me on Discord, so I guess I'm going to call it quits for tonight. Thank you all for